Well, were you expecting that? If you're a fan of the Delhi Capitals, when you've seen Rishabh Pant and Rovman Powell with 6 overs to go, needing just 9 and over, and I say just 9 and over because you've seen a lot more chased in recent times in the IPL. They were 118 for 4, and then all of a sudden they've lost 5 for 35 to fall, what, 14 short in a game that the Gujarat Titans would be thrilled about winning. That's what's happened at the MCS Stadium in Pune, where now, for the second game running, the team batting first has managed to defend successfully. This is Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by IQ 95G. Plenty to discuss with Ben Cutting and Wasim Jaffer as to how this game has suddenly turned. Wasim, please explain those last 4 or 5 overs from the Capitals.
Yeah, I think it was Delhi Capitals game to lose actually. I was backing them to chase this down. It wasn't a massive target and they were looking, pretty good when Rishabh and Lalit Yadav were batting. Suddenly one run out and they looked like, they were literally 3 times they were at one end and, could have been out. And that changed the momentum. And how good was Lockie Ferguson? 4 wickets at such an important stage, taking that crucial wicket of Rishabh Pant and then obviously Akshar Patel who has won them the game last game. I think he was impressive, and again it shows how important it is to have a strong bowling lineup. Rashid bowling well, Lockie Ferguson, Mohammad Shami. By the end of the 15th over, Hardik Pandya had 4 overs of their specialist bowlers, even though he had to manage 1 over, but I think he didn't need it to, because he trusted his main bowlers to bowl well. Impressive. I think I was very impressed with Hardik's captaincy as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go deeper into that. Let's get Ben Cutting's first thoughts. I wonder, after a game like that, where your first sort of emotion lies in terms of what's happened there. Katsi, is it the bowlers that have won this game, or is it more, now, Delhi should have been winning this regardless of the quality of the bowling that Gujarat had?
Look, no doubt they're a strong bowling unit, but the way from where they were, like you said, they lost 5 for 35. You really should win from that position leading into the death stages of the match. But Lockie Ferguson, unbelievable with the ball. Rashid Khan, 1 for 30, I think it was from his 4. Probably a few more runs than what he's used to be fair, which is just normal for a regulation bowler. But these guys turned the screws and made it really hard for them at the back end.
That 15th over, 8 runs and 2 wickets, which got the wickets of Rishabh Pant and Akshar Patel. Now, Lockie Ferguson's a big money signing for the Titans. Ben, you've seen him close quarters, I think, with enough times. He was with KKR last season. He was almost challenging for a position in that team ahead of Pat Cummins. Something about him that just seems, different. He gets wickets of the short ball. He troubles batters. How would you sum up that over and how hard it is to face Lockie?
That's right. He's always had that potential, but he's had so many injuries because of the nature of his action over the last couple of years, since he's been on the scene. So for him to really get some overs and some games and some experience under his belt the last couple of years, particularly with KKR last year and now early this season. But you can sort of see the way his action sets up at the crease. He's always coming in at the right-hander. We saw a pitch map of all their fast bowlers, not just him, of they're blatantly using the wicket and banging it in halfway down, making it tougher to score.
Is there something different about Lockie Ferguson's short ball, Ben, than perhaps others? Is it something more than the pace?
It's probably a little bit of everything. He's not the tallest character, to be fair, so he's very skiddy. So you don't really get a great look at it because of the lack of bounce, but it means he has to bang it in a fair bit shorter. And like I mentioned, because he's quite tall and over the top of his action, he's always coming in and angling at you. So for the right-hander, it's always coming in, always following you. It's tough to get away from the ball to free the arms to play it properly.
Wasim, if you look back at that, if you're, say, the batting coach of the Capitals, you like to make a batting assessment of them, what did they get wrong here? Were they just too happy to play shots to Lockie Ferguson that they shouldn't have been?
Yeah, I mean, much before that. I mean, Lockie obviously bowled well in that 15th over you mentioned, but, getting that crucial wicket of Prithvi Shaw, he's somebody who plays Rashid really well, somebody who hits boundaries in the power play, but by end he got out in the 5th over, and in those 5th over he had only played 6 balls, so he didn't get a lot of strikes in that power play as well. Mandeep Singh, again, they've trusted him ahead of Sarfaraz Khan, lost another opportunity. I think he was very fidgety. He just needed to, play standard cricket at least against Lockie Ferguson and chosen his bowlers to attack. And then after that, when Lalit Yadav and they stitched a partnership, that run out probably changed the game for them. And then Lockie coming in and picking up those crucial 2 wickets. Even then, I feel with one bowler short, Varun Aaron not on the park, had Roman Powell stayed till the end. That was a very crucial wicket that they lost. If Roman Powell stayed for Tewatia in the last over, anything was possible there.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that because the equation, if you follow how this game went, is almost always gettable. So long as there was even one recognised batter at the crease, we know what Roman Powell can do. Now, Wasim's taken one moment, which is the run out of Lalit Yadav. You think still that was, more significant a turning point than others? You think that run out really changed momentum, Wasim?
I think so. On chases like this, you don't want to give any sniff to the opposition. And Lalit Yadav after batted so much, so really well. And Rishabh Pant obviously, scoring at will. You don't want to mess up there because there's not much batting because Roman Powell, again, somebody who's very new to the IPL pressure. And then Aksar, obviously he's a good batter, but somebody who you don't bank on day in, day out. So that partnership, I feel, was very, very crucial. At least they should have taken it to 2-3 overs more, would have made it easier.
Ben, would you like to pick a moment, you think? Because there were plenty, right? Wasim says the run out of Lalit Yadav. Now, Rovman Powell trying an almighty heave against Mohammad Shami, the wicket of Rishabh Pant. As soon as Lockie Ferguson came back for another over, what do you think was perhaps the more defining moment of where this game turned?
I'd probably have to agree with the run out. That sort of started and sparked the problems after that. And when you're in a chase like that, it doesn't matter whether you're chasing truckloads or not many at all. If you lose wickets in clumps, it's tough to come back from because you can really turn the screws and put the pressure on the new batters coming in. And that just starts to snowball wicket by wicket by wicket. And it's tough to come back from there.
You think also perhaps Rovman Powell's lack of experience was shown if he's taken on Shami? Like Wasim said, they didn't have Varun Aaron. They would have had to go to either Vijay Shankar or Tewatia for 6 balls. Again, the equation at that time was, I think, 29 of 16. You think as a batting team, even as a sole batter, you're backing yourself to get maybe 20 also of the last over if it's a part-timer. Do you think he missed a trick there?
Yeah, potentially. And I think, you could probably sort of look back to the game before tonight, the way Pollard played. I know Mumbai lost, but Polly was none off 7 balls and it eventually caught up, 23 off 20 balls at the end of it because he had balls in the bank to take the game deep. And other nights he might get away with it, might win the game, and that's what Robbie might need to look at.
Wasim, similarly, they needed perhaps someone to just be a little smarter about the type of bowling that was had to offer that they didn't get?
Yeah, I think they should have. I mean, I'm sure that must have been communicated, but I mean, you got to give credit to Lockie Ferguson to how well that he has bowled. One batter at the crease. I mean, I thought they played really well to Rashid Khan by not giving him any wicket in first 3 overs. It's just Shardul Thakur in his 4th over. But other than that, they should have, kept couple of wickets in hand. I mean, ideally it's hindsight, but one decent batter, till the end. Even then they've lost with 14 runs. They could have easily chased it down.
Hardik Pandya with the new ball. Thoughts on that?
I thought I was very impressive. The pace was up. He was touching 140, and good thing that he took the new ball with Shami. I thought he did a good job, and it's a good sign. Being an Indian supporter, I think the way the day went for the Indian supporters, for the Indian players, UG, Ashwin, Kuldeep, everybody did well. Tilak Verma. I think it's a good time to be an Indian supporter today.
I mean, you're going to get a lot of fine Indian performances, and yet there's a good chance player of the match award might go to 2 foreigners, Josh Butler in the afternoon. Who knows if Lockie Ferguson wins it or if it's more Shubman Gill. But let's ask that question now. Do you think the bowlers have almost snatched victory in this game, Ben? Or, did Gujarat do well to get to 171? Now, how does Shubman Gill's innings look? How does the rest of that first innings look now that you've seen the entire game?
Look, I think it was a pretty decent performances from both parts of both the bat and the ball. Obviously, Shubman's runs on the board is massive, and then for Lockie to back it up, supported by Rashid, turning the screws and making it tough to score. It's a pretty good performances from both of those aspects, which they'll take a lot leading into the next game.
I wonder if you've made some observations after these 2 games today, Ben, where we're trying to understand how the 10-team IPL will eventually look at the end of the season. You had Rajasthan, who have these 4 bowlers that you're going to get 4 overs out of almost every game. And you could perhaps say the same about the Gujarat Titans if Hardik Pandya is running in as well as he's in bowling 4. So suddenly the captain has to just think of 1 bowler. Whereas we're looking at a lot of other teams, they're probably having to find overs to make up for more than 1 bowler. You think today's told us something about how the league might pan out?
Definitely, but in saying that, it's such a long tournament. I've been a part of it so many times now. You've seen it ebb and flow from teams starting off winning and then not even making the finals at the end of it, and vice versa. It can just go any way. You throw in, potentially injuries, COVID, and all that sort of stuff, and we could be having a very different conversation in 6 weeks' time.
Yeah, it's fair. It's still very early days. We're just trying to make impressions, though, Wasim. And something about the Royals bowling attack, the Titans bowling attack, this kind of win perhaps tells us where the strength of the team is.
Yeah, I think so. Like you rightly mentioned that if you've got 4 bowlers sorted out, it's only the other last 4 overs or 4 overs from 2 guys that are going to, you have to handle. Otherwise, a lot of other teams have got to, adjust with 2 bowlers or 3 bowlers or maybe 8 overs. When you have got a strong bowling attack, it makes, things a lot easier. Even if you got under par score, you back your bowlers to, do the job. That's what we did see today.
Now, how does the first innings look for you? Same question I asked Ben. Shubman Gill playing that sort of innings. Was this still a good batting surface? The rest of the Gujarat Titans didn't quite have, the batters didn't quite take off. How does that innings look for you now?
Massive. You take out 80 runs from that 170. He's literally scored half the runs and in a lot less balls as well. So, huge innings compared to, no other batter looked apart from Rishabh Pant for that 30 odd. Massive innings from Shubman Gill. He was a class apart and totally difference in all the batters together.
Would you give the player of the match award to Shubman? Would it be Lockie Ferguson? Who's had the bigger impact on this game, you think?
I'll probably share it between Shubman and Lockie because both of them were match-winning performances from me.
Ben, what about you? Fast bowler who turned the game or the batter who got half the runs?
It's pretty tough to split, to be fair. They've almost got half the runs and half the wickets between them. So I'm going to go with Shubman. He runs on the board early for this one, but Lockie bowled fantastically well too.
One thing Ben Cutting says that it's early days and maybe things will change. Mumbai Indians, if they pick up some momentum. But sometimes they're not sure of any team at the start of a season, Wasim. When you've picked up 2 wins out of 2, and there are a lot of teams, Mumbai, Chennai, who are 2 defeats out of 2, suddenly does that translate into some kind of momentum from what you've experienced?
It does. I've been part of Punjab and, when you lose 2 and 3, suddenly you want to chop and change too much and then, the pressure is from the owners, you want to change the team, the players sitting out, you look at them, you at the start of the tournament, you're only thinking about 13, 14 players, suddenly the squad is off 25, you look at, this guy could do a job and all that. So it's not a good thing when you lose 2 and 3, in line. It makes it hard for all of them because too many cooks actually, mess up the food. That's the saying. So that's exactly what happens when you lose 2 and 3 in line.
And with specific regards to the Gujarat Titans, we felt like this is not necessarily looking like a very strong team after the auction. Good bowling attack, but not sure how it'll go. But do they suddenly not look as bad to you now?
I think their batting probably was a little bit of worry. The batting has taken care of itself. Hardik batting at number 4, I think. Probably one thing I would say that Hardik needs to bat just the way he bats at number 6. The same thing he needs to do at number 4. He probably plays that number and that's why it takes a little bit of time. He just need to bat the same way the way he bats at number 6. Other than that, I feel this team is looking pretty good.
Ben, same thing for you for the Titans, who perhaps are looking a lot better team now than perhaps some of us might have thought after the auction.
Yeah, without a doubt. You've only got to look at their bowling the first 2 games. It's been very, very good. Like was said, it's probably a little bit more thinking around what would happen with the batting if they were put under the pump. It looks a little bit light on for me potentially, but only time will tell whether that's right or not, particularly with the 2 arounders at 3 and 4.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess if they have this bowling attack, they'd be hoping to never be chasing too many, or on the other hand, to even making a game out of what we thought was a par or a below par score that they got today. So well done to the Titans. They picked up 2 wins out of 2 and at the same time given the Delhi Capitals their first defeat of the season. It's a big thank you to Ben Cutting. Sun's about to rise in Brisbane soon. Ben?
It is not far off. A couple of hours sleep and I'll be up in about probably be up in about 3 hours to be fair.
All right. Get some sleep, mate. Thank you very much for your time and your thoughts. And must relieve Wasim Jaffer as well. It's a big day as well. Tomorrow morning, he has to wake up early too. So, Wasim, we look forward to your company tomorrow on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Time Out, powered by IQ 95G. Before I leave you, though, let's have a look at the poll that was asked today. Mumbai Indians game. Who among these bowlers will concede the most runs in the match between Mumbai and Rajasthan? Now, Basil Thampi didn't get the opportunity to concede more than Murugan Ashwin eventually did. But that was the right answer. So 27% of you have got that right. I'm amazed 32% of you have gone for Bumrah. That's staggering. I mean, come on. You could have gone elsewhere. He was excellent today. But those of you who did pick Murugan Ashwin, you've got it absolutely right. Anyway, that's a wrap from us. We'll see you tomorrow. Just the one game on a Sunday for this particular weekend, Chennai Punjab. And it's a big game for the Super Kings, you'd think, after losing 2 out of 2 for the first time in the IPL. Join us then just after the toss, 7 p.m. in India. And we'll see how that game goes with Wasim, Jaffer and Sam Curran. Good night.